It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. And it reads, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." Reading in the NLT, it says, "So that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes." I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Thumb. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who do teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop, and I'm coming at you with another lesson through spirit, through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshua. This lesson is inspired because I got an article where I saw an article on Newsbreak and it caught my attention. This is nothing new, pretty much. You got the article reads, it says major U.S. banks close a staggering 1,000 branches this year. And it says, here's the full list so far. U.S. banks closed more than 700 branches in the first 9 months of the year, forcing thousands to travel further to access vital services. Bank of America closed the most locations of any bank, shuttering 132 between January and September. U.S. Bank followed swiftly behind, having closed 101 of their own branches. Wells Fargo closed 92, Chase 90, and TD Bank in the same period. Scroll down for the full searchable list with addresses. The rest of the closures are made up of banks such as PNC, Citizen Bank, Woodforest, Fulton, and Capital One. The worst hit state was California, which saw 86 branches closed across the state. And ultimately, the reason why because like I said, this is nothing new, but the reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to bring in that new system, as far as it's going to be a digital system, what need would it be to have a brick and mortar building if you're not going to be dealing with physical currency? You're not going to be dealing with cash, because pretty much cash is going to be made obsolete. It's going to be wiped out. And I don't know what's going to be the catalyst. Well, we know what the catalyst is, and there's a multitude of things. The way the system was set up. You know what I mean? The system is imploding. These people don't have any money. You know what I mean? Because a fiat currency isn't set up to last forever. That's why when you go research in history, every fiat currency pretty much that was started failed. This system was set up to pretty much usher in, their beast system. I'm gonna go back into this the word devices in 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11, and it reads,
Strong's G 3540, Naima.
It says a mental perception, thought, and evil purpose, that which thinks the mind, thoughts, or purposes. So you got these different organizations, like the Committee of 300 and, the Bilderberg Group, got many of organizations that basically are trying to steer the world and, in a particular direction, Just hearing about, I think it was the guy Donut who was going into PayPal gang, which Elon Musk is a part of, and pretty much this is the direction they're steering the future in, where they can track, trace, and pretty much program your money, and that's a plot, that's a plan, that's a scheme. So those closing these banks is pretty much a way to pretty much control you. You know what I mean? Because like I said, a person will be more willing to accept something when it's more convenient. If you can't, they were doing it in Australia where they were closing banks, and it would take for you to reach the bank, you had to drive to the next city. Which is all done by design again. They want to be able to monitor everything you're doing, to have complete control. This is the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1, and it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So this devil literally is up, plotting and scheming, to be, you know, it's trying to bring this plan, this scheme into fruition. And the scriptures tell you that he's going to bring it to fruition to a degree, but it's also going to fail him. Say he will be in straits, and his sufficiency he will be in straits. So he's going to get it up and running to a degree, but it's not going to go the way he expects. He's not going to pretty much chip the whole planet. It says verse 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Even a man and his heritage. And who did these things? Who came over here and pretty much took the fields or the land from the Native Americans, the tribe of Gad and Reuben? Who did these things? The so-called white man. And how did they take them? By violence, by force. And houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. I was listening to a video that the elder Yashawamba did talking about Babylon the Great is the promised land. Are you fucking serious? You know what I mean? Like, just like how the elders got to constantly go into the new covenant, like, just so it's just meant for some people not to get it. And that's all scriptural though, the different, uh, the false doctrines, you know what I mean? And, the stumbling blocks put before certain people that the Lord doesn't want to get this truth. It says, verse 3. Well, that's the point. That's what I'm wearing. It says New York saw 64 closures in the first 9 months of 2024. Other badly hit states include Pennsylvania 47, Texas 46, Ohio 45, Florida 43, and New Jersey 41. If the current rate of closure continues for the rest of the year, slightly over 1,000 banks, it's like 1,000 branches will have shut across the country this year alone because of the fact, basically the banks are insolvent. The banks aren't generating a profit. They don't have any money. So what's going to happen is, especially when the people, it's spiritual. Because when I first went out in camp by myself, it was a Jake, came and wanted to talk to me because, like I said, that's what Jake really want to do. We want to entertain himself. They don't take this truth seriously, and that's why the Lord gonna destroy these niggas. But I guess he just assumed that I was a ignorant individual. Didn't know shit, and I fucked his head up because I'm like, well. Because he was like, well, he worked for a bank. And I'm like, so if the banks rely on, the depositors to put money in the bank and everybody's broke, how the fuck you think you're going to have a job? And his rebuttal was pretty much, he like, well, we make money up digitally. And it was spiritual because I literally was going into about to see him. You know what I mean? So, the Lord always setting the stage for certain things, that you can utilize. If you watching, the Lord always speaking, put it like that. So again, what's going to happen is these major banks is going to gobble up these smaller banks because again, the banks don't have any money. You heard about what just happened to Bank of America, which was one of the banks named in the beginning. And shit, they pretty much had depositors couldn't find their funds. So like. And I haven't heard anything else about that. I might look into that if it's the will of the Lord, But ultimately, this money system is gonna fail, for them in order to bring in, this new system, this digital system that no man might buy or sell save he who had the mark. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13, and verse 15. I'm going to start at verse 14, Revelation 13 and 14. Revelation chapter 13, verse 14, and deceiveth them. I'm going to start at verse 13. I'm going to start at verse 12, Salakia. Revelation 13 and 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So what is that deadly wound? That beast that had the deadly wound was healed? Well, that was ancient Rome, that ancient system, that ancient culture, and it was healed because basically America has adopted and taken on, the likeness of ancient Rome. That's why, a lot of things are in the Babylon the Great is modeled after ancient Rome. You know, Latin is spoken in law. The terminology is usually written in Latin. Uh, the Roman numeral system is, you know, perpetuated here. I remember going to school and we had to learn Roman numerals. Although it's supposed to be an outdated society, so why would it's little telltale things that these devils did to show you what this is. You know what I mean? Look at a lot of the architecture, a lot of the buildings is pretty much built up as like ancient Rome, especially the like the government buildings, like your city halls and the Capitol building, in Washington D.C. Capitol Hill, that was a place actually in Rome. And then you got a Capitol Hill here, I believe, in Babylon the Great. Verse 13, and he doth great wonders so that he make a fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And the great wonders is the technology, the internet, World Wide Web, the internet, Elon Musk with his Neuralink technology, this devil does have technology, that was given to him from Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The ICBM, the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Because you're going to have a lot of individuals like those patients that took the time to get that Neuralink, And when you pay attention to what it is, like they hoping that it's going to give them the ability to walk. But all it's allowing them to do is really pretty much like use technology mentally. You know what I mean? So talk about them people putting hope in something. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit kind of funny. And then like I said, they have all these different issues with it. So it's spiritual. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause of that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So, you're going to have persecution. Those that choose not to receive the mark, may end up being martyrs, as a witness for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, tells you the death of one of the saints is pleasing in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, roughly paraphrased. Verse 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And when you go into that word mark, it's the charagma. And then when you go into the root word, it's karax, which is a palisade or stake, which, that C hip actually that's formed in the shape of a rice can actually be, considered a palisade or a stake. So it says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor. So everybody, those that have a name for themselves in the society, those that are nobody in the society. I'm trying to think of how the elders say it. He said that word. No person. It said small and great, rich and poor. From you 9 to 5 Israelites and Edomites to the celebrities in the society. Free and bond, those that are considered free because they're out and about and not in Esau's penal system, to those that are actually locked up, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 and that goes back to that 603 666, 666. But it ultimately goes back to like that barcode, the universal product code, UPC code, which like the elder broke it down, when you look at those lines, the the 3 longest lines represent 666. So don't be surprised. You're gonna see more banks basically closing, because again, like they're pretty much, the banks are insolvent. They don't have any money. Just like the average citizens don't have any money. Yeah, like I mean, don't get me wrong, you got people got money, you know what I mean? But that's just like a lot of these celebrities. Like I was talking to this female, and she said Jeezy pretty much is on tour, or Jeezy's gonna be performing at the House of Blues, and I'm like, what? I ain't heard nothing about that. That show you like if he got to get back out here and do concerts, these motherfuckers ain't making no money like you think they is, because they money comes from the people. Unless you got investments, you know. Unless you got money invested in other things besides the music, you know what I mean, which some of them celebrities do. But for the most part, if he got to go back to actually performing on stage, yeah, motherfuckers is, taking a beating. It's a reason why Lil Wayne sold his music catalog, So I mean, expect to see more bank closings, you know, expect to see more struggling, because that's the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We put these people in a state of desperation, especially these women too. Like all that proud shit, like went out the window. Like I'm talking to a few different females, and ultimately these women getting their ass kicked. Which is funny to me. And bitch, that's one of my favorite songs by Eminem. He say, "Shit, bitch, I can't say I'm not your Superman, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm not your Superman, bitch. I ain't about to fuck." Shit, if anything, I'm more like the Superman of Ace Vane. You know what I mean? Like man, you know what I'm saying? So with that, I will end the lesson. I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who do teach and rule well. Peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning, well, willing to use is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but who subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. I say shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.